Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, Rewind That. It's your girl, Miss K. If this is your first time coming across my channel, welcome. Please be sure to subscribe if you like the vibe and hit that notification bell so you know when I upload more videos like this one. Alright guys, today we're going to be going over the latest episode of Raising Kanan, Season 1, episode number 5 called Choose Your Battles. Alright, so the episode starts off with Kanan getting dressed in his room and he has to clean some blood off of his sneakers, right? And when he goes downstairs, his mother is waiting for him with the infamous bloody shirt, okay? So she tells Kanan that she found it a few days ago and wanted to give him a chance to come clean and tell her what happened. But of course he didn't. So Rock was able to put the whole thing together that he was at the stash house with Uncle Marvin and someone standing real close to Kanan got shot. She mentioned that Marvin told her what happened at the stash house, but somehow forgot to mention that Kanan was there. So Kanan tells a lie about going to the stash house to get some money that Scrap owed him, which made him run into his uncle who was loading boxes, and he just wanted to help. So Rock was like, I ain't got time for this. I already know you're not telling the truth. Just sit down and eat. So we already know that by now, Rock is like, what the heck am I going to do about this boy? Because he's just itching for these streets. Next, we see Detective Howard and Burt go to the scene of the crime at the stash house, and they can see that something happened. There were neighbors who let it be known that they heard all the commotion, but didn't see anything. So Detective Howard was like, without a body or a victim, we have no crime, so our work is done here. So they leave the scene. And I ain't gonna lie, guys, when they saw Kanan's vomit, I thought they were gonna use it for DNA, but who would they match it with, right? Because they got no leads. Plus, I'm not sure that DNA was that advanced yet as far as using vomit, you know? Blood, yes, but not sure if they knew that you could use vomit for DNA back in the 90s. Anyway, next, Rock confronts Marvin about having Kanan at the stash house, and she tells him the same thing she told Kanan, that she's been sitting on this info waiting for one of them to come clean. She tells him that this is a test that they both failed, but she lets Marvin know that Kanan didn't snitch on him and put it all on himself. So Lulu was like, boy's got heart. And Rock was like, yeah, a little too much heart and too much trust in his dumb uncle. So after Marvin tries to come up with some bullcrap story about what happened, Rock was like, shut up, I don't want to hear it. Then she just starts going in on Marvin, guys, about how he doesn't listen and this is the problem with our older brother. And, you know, yes, Marvin did screw up, but I just felt bad about how Rock was coming down on him like that. But in Rock's defense, the guy almost had her son killed, so she does have the right to go off like that. But what I'm seeing is that this doesn't look like anything new when it comes to Marvin screwing up, okay? Rock probably always chews him up like this verbally, all right? All the time. And it doesn't help to have Lulu right there with his 2 cents chiming in. I just know I couldn't be around it if it was me. I'd be like, y'all could have that because y'all ain't gonna be just tag teaming on me like that. Anyway, Rock tells Marvin that she doesn't have the energy to keep talking about what happened at the stash house, so they're moving on. Then she tells her brothers that they need to go on the offense and wants to know what Neek is doing before he does it, and she wants to get inside his head. So when Marvin says, we need to sniff out that rat, she tells him that they already know it was Neek who hit them, so none of that matters. Plus, she's already on it, and then tells him not to do anything else stupid. Then she gets up to leave, but she had to throw in a few more digs for Marvin's verbal beatdown, okay? And tells him to clean up his mess at the table because she's getting tired of cleaning up after his sloppy behind. So Lulu has to add insult to injury and says to Marvin, you just can't help but screw up, can you? And the look on Marvin's face is just priceless, guys. You know, like you can tell that he doesn't like being viewed as the screw up, especially as the oldest. And I'm pretty sure that he's going to want to prove himself worthy of a better reputation. But I'm also sure that he's getting tired of being the odd man out when it comes to Rock and Lulu. We could even see in this scene that he wanted credit for saving Kanan. But Marvin has to understand that he wouldn't have had to save Kanan if he didn't have him there at the stash house to begin with, right? Next, Kanan is in his class at City College and he tells Symphony that the class is not as bad as he thought it would be and that it's actually been cool. So it was nice to see Kanan warming up to Symphony, right? We even hear grown Kanan saying that Symphony was always teaching. With him, class was always in session. But he liked that about him. So anyway, Symphony tells Kanan to hit him up anytime if he needs to talk. And he gives Kanan his number. So before Kanan leaves, he says, "You really like my mom?" And Symphony says, "I do." Then Kanan was like, "That's cool." So we see here that it was basically Kanan giving Symphony the blessing, right? Next, things heat up between Marvin and Lulu because Marvin wanted to know why Rock was being so secretive about Baisley. And Lulu tells him that if he kept better secrets, he wouldn't have went to jail. Then he tells Marvin that this time it's everyone involved, meaning the family, and he's not about to get killed or go to prison over his stupidness. And that's when Marvin tells Lulu that he's always stepping and fetching for Rock. So Lulu says, "No, I handle my business. You should try it sometime." So long story short, guys, Marvin calls out Lulu about his business with Crown Camacho. He calls him a fake Quincy Jones, right? And he tells him that it sounds like the only record he's going to be singing is that Puerto Rock Negro screwed my chick, okay? And even Marvin sees that Crown is definitely heading that way to smashing Jess, because she most certainly seems willing. Anyway, so they start fighting. Once Lulu tells Marvin that he got a song too called "That New York Nick Nigga Screwed My Baby Mama." Then Lou added that she turned around and screwed the whole league. So this is obviously about Juke's mother, and this set Marvin off, and he pushes Lulu down. And they start fighting, but it was a lot of blocking hits and tussling on the ground. Nothing major at all, which I was definitely happy about because the last thing that I want to see is these two brothers fighting. Anyway, so they stop fighting when the cops drive by and tell them that y'all better not make us get out this car, okay? Then Lulu tells Marvin that he ain't never been nothing and he ain't never gonna be nothing. So Marvin says, "There go Lou, about to go nurse on his sister's titty." And Lou says, "Hey, if I'm on the right, you on the left." And that is so true, guys, okay? Because Rock got both her brothers wrapped around her finger. Next, there's more bad news for Detective Howard when he finds out that one of his cousins is not a match. So basically, this disease is going to kill him if he doesn't get a match soon. Next, Juke tells Kanan that she can't help but to think that Davina had something to do with the stash house being robbed. And Famous over there being mad loud in the bodega, talking about some, "Oh, Davina's a rat, Davina snitched," whatever he said, right? And the battered wife is just behind the register listening to everything, okay? So we got to pay attention to that as well. So Kanan leaves the store because now he's mad. And Juke goes after him and tells Kanan that she was with Buck, okay? She's talking about Davina now. Davina was with Buck. She got connections to Unique, and you even said she came to the spot. So Kanan was just stuck on stupid and says that Davina, whose mom is a crackhead, didn't know what the stash house was, okay? Even though when she saw it, she made reference to a freaking crack house. "Oh, this looks like a freaking crack house," okay? Anyway, Kanan tells Davina that it was Scrap who was the rat because he didn't show up to work that day. So Juke was just looking at Kanan like, "You are so dumb. You don't know what the heck you're talking about." Then she tells Kanan that Scrappy is one of the most loyal soldiers that his mother has. She lets Kanan know that there's a lot of stuff about their family that he doesn't know. Secrets you don't want to know. So Kanan tells Juke that he knows her secrets, right? "So I suggest you watch your mouth." Kanan is over here getting pissed off at his cousin as if she's like throwing shots at him or, she was just trying to be honest. It wasn't like she was coming at him in any way, but he was all defensive and it was just so uncalled for, okay? But anyway, when he said this, it definitely pisses Juke off. And now she's the one walking away mad. But this is the thing that pisses me off with Kanan. He swears he knows things, and the worst part about it is that he acts on what he thinks he knows, right? He acts on his assumptions, which is very, very dangerous. It's what his mother is constantly trying to tell him. And the crazy thing is, when he decides that he's going to handle Scrap, he went home to get a gun. And thankfully, Rock walked in on him because it changed his mind about bringing the gun. All right, because she was like, "All right, I'm going to drop you off." Okay, so he's just out of hands. And I'm just annoyed. And I just feel like the only way that he's going to learn is that his stupidity and his assumptions is going to cost him somebody that he loves one of these days, right? Anyway, Famous runs after Juke and tells her to come to the studio with him and to not let the situation that she got going on with Kanan screw things up for her. So she decides to go with him to the studio. Next, Rock and Marvin meet up at Baisley, and she tells him why she's getting the apartments. She lets him know that they're bringing the business into the apartments, and with them being up so high, they can now see whoever's coming from a mile away. right? Whether it's enemies or cops. They will be out of sight and out of mind. And you already know she got this idea from all of Symphony's lessons about them high rises, even if Symphony doesn't know it, right? Anyway, when Marvin asks why they need two apartments, especially the one below, she tells him that they're going to build a chute that connects to the apartment below. So if the police come in, they could just throw everything down the chute, making it a foolproof plan. Next, Kanan tells his mother that she's been playing him by telling him she's going to teach him the game. So she asks Kanan what he wants, and don't say you want to be on the corner, because that's not going to happen. So Kanan tells Rock that he wants her to teach him how to cook. And I just felt bad for Rock in this moment because, she just wants to protect her son. But she's also realizing that this dude ain't going to wait for her to teach him anything. And he's just going to get involved in the streets one way or another, right? We had Eager Kid from Snowfall who died in the last season, right? Well, I'm here to let you guys know that Kanan has taken his place. He's the new freaking Eager Kid. Anyway, Rock is just hard pressed at this point, and she tells Kanan that she's going to need to think about this. All right. Next, after Rock drops Kanan off at Girardi's, he walks to where Scrap is shooting dice and confronts him about the stash house situation. Meanwhile, Kanan was being followed by Detective Howard, who was initially supposed to be tailing Rock. But once he saw Kanan, he decided to change course. When Detective Burke asks why they're not following Rock anymore, he tells her that Kanan is connected to a lot of stuff. He was friends with D-Wiz and went to school with Buck 20, and his mom is a known drug trafficker. Like, he has links to all their cold cases. Then he explained that Kanan comes from hustling royalty and that his father, Rondell Stark's face, belongs on the Mount Rushmore of kingpins, okay? Making Kanan the prince of the South Side. And sometimes to get to the queen, you gotta go through the prince. So Detective Burke is definitely allowing herself to take the chip off her shoulder and just learn from Detective Howard. And I think that's going to be a problem for Rock later on because Detective Burke is going to take all her lessons from Detective Howard and do things by the book. Anyway, so Kanan confronts Scrap, and Scrap lets him know that he is not a snake, and Rock of all people knows that. Scrap also tells Kanan that he knows he came on his own, because if Rock would have thought he snitched, he would have been done for by now. Then he tells Kanan that he's just a boy playing in a man's world. And that's major facts, right, guys? So when they start fighting, I really want to Scrap to beat the freaking brakes off of Kanan because I'm just so tired of this kid inserting himself like this. Anyway, Detective Howard pulls up on them and arrests them both. And as they're being put in the back of the police car, one of Neek's men is watching it all go down. Next, the bodega owner tells Rock that he wants to renegotiate how much he's getting paid for the risk. So Rock tells him that they shake hands when they negotiate, but they throw hands when they renegotiate. And you don't want those problems, Poppy. And this guy is just itching to get himself killed, right? Like Kanan is itching to get in the streets. This man is itching to catch a bullet. And I'm afraid he's going to do something stupid, guys. I kind of feel like he's going to try to get the cops involved or something. I don't know. He's just going to do something stupid that's going to get himself killed. Next, Kanan is down at the precinct and Detective Howard finds out that he's 15, not 16. So now he's thinking hard, right? And after Symphony comes to pick Kanan up, Detective Howard pulls up DEFCON's file. And we see that DEFCON was incarcerated in October of 74, which makes it impossible for him to be Kanan's father. And at this point, I already put it together, guys, because Detective Howard also told Kanan that him and his mother go way back. Rock loved me. She always has. We go way back. That's what he said, right? So once he said this, I was like, okay, so my theory of him being Kanan's uncle is out of the window, right? Because I really didn't want it to be that easy, guys. I didn't want him to be Kanan's father. Anyway, we'll talk more about this later. Next, Juke is at the studio with Famous and Lou comes through as well. So Milo, the engineer, starts airing Crown out about not paying what he owes. So Lulu asks Milo how much he needs to pay his bills and keep his baby mama off his back for the child support. Milo tells him he needs a couple of G's. So Lulu gives him the money, and he also pays the guys down the hall because Milo spoke up for them too, right? And this now gives Lulu the upper hand over Crown. And now he takes this opportunity to tell Crown that his niece will be singing on Famous's track. All right. Next, Kanan asks Symphony not to tell his mother that he had to pick him up from the precinct. Symphony tells him that it's not his place to do that. So Kanan tells him that his mother will lock him up and throw away the key and even stopped sending him to those extra classes, because when she burns things down, she burns it all down. Then Symphony says, I won't lie to her if she asks me about it, but I won't offer it up either. So Kanan thanks him and gets out the car. Next, Nicole's mother walks in on her and Juke making out, and she freaking flips out, guys, right? She starts screaming at Juke, telling her to get out of her house and don't come back, and she even calls her freaking repellent, guys. She's disgusting and that she's never welcome back there again. Like, she was just going off on her. And it was pretty sad. And Juke left there really broken, guys. All right, next, Rock tells Kanan that she's going to show him how to cook, even though it's probably the stupidest thing she's ever done as a mother. She also tells him that she's doing this because if something happens to her, at least she knows he'll be good and he'll know how to survive. But this is the last thing that Kanan wants to hear. And he says to his mom, but you promised nothing was ever going to happen to you. So Rock says, yeah, well, you know enough now to know that that's not a promise I can keep. So then she starts showing him step by step, and then she tells him that what they're doing now is a violation, a major violation. You never cook where you sleep. But she's making an exception because it's only a small batch and she didn't want to take him to the lab. Next, Scrap meets up with Unique and tells him that he's all about the business and it's about earning for him. But he wants to be a part of a team that appreciates him, and Rock has her boy moved up in line ahead of him, and he ain't about to work for no Kanan. So this definitely didn't have me fooled, guys, okay? Because I doubt that Scrap is going to just flip sides like that, especially when he's known to be loyal. When he got in that car with Rock, we didn't get to hear what their conversation was about, right? But if we look back on the conversation she had with her brothers, we will remember that she told them she wants to get inside Neek's head and to know his moves before he makes them. And what better way to do that than through infiltration? So she sends Scrap in, and now she will have intel, right? But I just hope it doesn't get Scrap killed. That's my whole thing. But that's wishful thinking, I'm sure. Also, with Neek's man witnessing the fight between Scrap and Kanan, that pretty much helped the situation to be believable, right? Next, we get to the last scene where Detective Howard shows up and tells Rock that he thought Kanan was 16. He tells her that DEF CON can't be Kanan's daddy due to the timeline, and there were no records of conjugal visits. So Howard is like, you hid this from me, and you could deny it all you want, but we both know the truth. Kanan is my son. So he walks away, and Rock had nothing to say. Before that, she told him to stay away from her son, But after he let her know that he knows the truth for certain, she had nothing to say. And that's how the episode ended, guys. Also, I like how the episode of Kanan's real paternity being revealed aired on August 15th, which is also Kanan's birthday. Anyway, guys, that's the video for today. Let me know what you guys thought about this episode. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell so you know when I upload more videos like this one. Until next time, you guys take care and be blessed. Bye-bye.